Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast, where we raise our voices and honor the badass achievements of women in the service industry. Get ready for empowering conversations, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of ass-kicking energy. Join us as we redefine what it means to be bold, fearless, and unapologetically YOU, babe. This is your platform, your community, and your source of inspiration. So buckle up, get ready to rock and roll, and let's show this world just how much we can accomplish. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast. Hey badasses, welcome back to another episode of Ladies Kickin' Ass. Today is going to be fire because it always is when I'm with this woman, and I get to have my dear friend Joanne Bolt back on the podcast for round 3. We have done one together, and then we did one on your podcast. This is 4, actually. I corrected myself again. So we always have a lot of things to talk about, and this is a woman that I met at a mastermind that I walked into, and I was like, oh my God, why am I here? She walked in and felt the same thing. Kindred energy put us together at a table. We started talking and became really fast friends. We're definitely those two that don't color inside of the lines. And it's really fun to have another woman in your life that you get to do that kind of stuff with. So Joanne, welcome back to the podcast today. So excited to have you here.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me back. I am super stoked to dive into today's topic.
Yes, and today's topic, we're going to be talking about marketing and precisely easy marketing. There's so many women that have so many badass ideas in their heads, and that's where they go to die because we're, 1, too fearful of what everybody else is going to say, which we shouldn't be because they ain't paying your bills, girl. And 2, because we're afraid of putting it out there and shit not working, or we don't know what we need to do in order to make things work. So today we're going to have a conversation, jump into stuff. Sales and marketing is my favorite part of my business. I know it is for Joanne, and she's kick ass at it too. So this is going to be legendary for anybody in any kind of service-based industry because it's just tactical things. How many times you go to a conference, something that you learn and you're like, well, shit, what is step 1? We're step 1, girl. So we're going to help you with that today. So Joanne, talk to me about what easy marketing looks like to you.
Ooh, this is legitimately one of my favorite conversations to have. I am the queen of easy marketing. If there's an easy button on it, hello, I am pressing the button. Here's the thing. I've learned throughout the years, Tanya, that most people get into a business and they don't really concentrate on the power of sales. You know, when I was in real estate, most agents did not realize when they got into real estate that they were in the business of making sales. Podcasters, they don't realize that they're in the business of selling. They think that they're just on a microphone talking. Well, real estate agents just thought that they were showing homes all day long and it was easy. And here's the thing, girl, you know this, being in the septic business. If you don't have sales, you have no revenue. Well, how do you get your sales? You have to market. And how do we market? Here's my number 1 rule of thumb. If it doesn't feel good to you, then don't do it. It is that basic. I know that that's not like a tactical piece, but here's the thing. If you look at a form of marketing, creating an Instagram reel, creating a LinkedIn post, going door to door, knocking like my brokers told me to when I got into real estate, legit, I was told I needed to walk neighborhoods that I wanted to sell homes in, knock on the doors, and literally stand and sell my services from the doorstep of the people that open the doors. That doesn't feel good to me. When I really thought about that, I was like, that's a big F no for me because I am the girl who would slam the door in your face. So if I don't want it done to me, then I'm not going to do it to my prospective clients either. You got to find the ways that feel good to you because if you don't like the method of the marketing, it's not going to be easy and you're going to struggle with it and it's not going to result in sales, which is not going to add revenue to your bottom line. So the number 1 rule that I would say, start out. Yes, you can look at what everyone's doing. Sure, take a look around, sample a few things. But at the end of the day, if you don't want it done to you, then it's not the marketing you need to do to your prospective clients. And that's the easiest way you can find your marketing zone of genius.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. So I want to jump into this because people will say, all right, great. Well, I love social media. I want to do social media stuff. So then they think they've got to do every fucking platform and they got to do this. And then they're overwhelmed. And then they spend all their time instead of developing their service or working on their service or actually selling the service. They're out there making 9 bajillion social media posts. So what do you say to somebody that if they're going to start marketing and they're like, okay, I know where I want to start. I want to start on social media. Where do you tell them to start?
The easiest thing that they can do on the social media starting is how are they going to then funnel someone into their system? So, sure, you can create a million reels. Where are you sending people to?
Mm-hmm.
If you can't answer that, then you have got a leaky sales system and marketing just got hard, not easy. If you can put in a simple mini chat funnel to where if they say a certain word when you do things, then you send them an email or a text or a freebie or something to get them into your world so you can begin developing the relationship, which is actually what you need to be doing. If you can do that, then go on social media all day long. But if you're just creating reels or posts or carousels or going live or whatever it is you're doing on your socials, if you're just doing that to expand the audience, sure, a million followers is fantastic. But if those million followers aren't buying from you, then your marketing is broken. It's not doing anything. So you've got to have a plan
Mm-hmm.
behind your strategy to get them into your world further.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that exhausts so many people in the service and trades industry is because they just keep posting and they're like, this shit ain't doing anything for me because there's
No.
no call to action on any of this stuff. You mentioned ManyChat. Tell us what that is in a brief little what is ManyChat?
It's like my favorite little tool. It's like $15 a month. So the ROI on it is magnificent. And it is a
Mm-hmm.
bot. Yes, it's a bot. Okay, that doesn't seem personal, but you can go into the back end and put your words, your tone. You can create that funnel on the back end fairly easily so that it sounds like you're really talking to your people. So, for instance, on our Instagram for the upcoming webinar, we literally tell people, like, hey, we're going to teach you the Entrepreneur's Guide to Easy Marketing in this upcoming webinar. If you just DM the word entrepreneur, then we'll send
Mm-hmm.
you an invite to the webinar. So now I've got a reel on Instagram. If someone's interested in learning more, they can DM that word. And in their DMs, or I'm sorry, they can comment on the reel, the word entrepreneur. Now I'm going to get into their DMs and I'm going to literally say, hey, so and so, can't wait to see you on the webinar. Here's the dates to register. And I've got a link to the registration page right there. So I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about link in bios. I don't have to worry about reading all the comments on like it's automatically happening. They have raised their hand and self-selected. I want an invite to the webinar, and we have given them an easy way to do it. This is easy marketing 101.
Yes.
Make it simple. Make it simple.
Yeah. I love that. And that was a perfect overview as to what that is. Many chats like your little arsenal of VAs that sit and just send people stuff automatically. So
Yeah.
it is an incredible program. Absolutely incredible. So think about social media. If you're like, okay, I'm posting to educate. Great. Then send them to an educational piece they can download. You can capture an email. You can now have this for your email marketing. You can continue to follow up with that person. Hey, I saw you downloaded this. And you can put this all into automations. Something with marketing that I think a lot of people think, well, I have to do everything myself. It has to be very, very personal. Shit's so good now online. You can set up automations that literally sound just like you. We just signed up for a program through Podium, which I can't rave enough about. It's a really cool program that we use, but they're actually developing AI with the chats that come onto the website that also syncs together with our phone system where it actually will listen to your phone calls because it transcribes and records all the phone calls and the chats that you have with your customers, and it starts learning your business. So now when you
Mm-hmm.
dispatch Larry, the AI guy, he is going to be able to have these fluid conversations with people based upon what you have taught it through your conversations that you're having on the phone and through the chats. There's so much cool shit out there that's happening, and people are
Like,
like
how easy
constantly
is
saying,
that?
It's crazy. You have to
Yeah.
seek out the things that can help you. Podcast, great way. We're going to teach you lots of that stuff today. But these are great things like reach out to people and say, hey, can you teach me more about this? And I know that Joanne's going to talk about, if we stick around here till the end, she's going to talk about an incredible opportunity she has because she's going to be teaching you all kinds of shit that you can implement into your business. So, what are some other marketing things that you're going to be talking about or things that you love to use in your own way of implementing marketing and sales in your business?
Word of mouth. I like to
Mm.
talk. You like to talk. We're both podcasters. Let me tell you, the number one business driver I've had in every business I've ever owned and run, and I mean, down to when I had a real estate business, $56 million a year producing team, to now I run Podcast Her as a company. It is all word of mouth. I have found throughout the years the easiest marketing you can do is have someone else tell someone about you, because
Yes.
there is such, we started testing this theory, honestly, when I ran the real estate team. We had a vendor list, and our vendor list is currency. Like, a good real estate agent's best currency for their clients is not actually selling or helping them buy a home. It's the vendor list that they can provide them. Painters, lenders, septic people, plumbing people, electricians. There's so much you need when you buy or sell a home that you don't always think about. And when I've got that ready
Mhm.
to go list for you, like, whew, my whole value to you just exploded, right? So here's what we started testing on our team. We started testing the power of the warm conversion. And what I meant by warm conversion is this. If someone asked me for my list of painters, we went 6 months. We did these in 6-month increments. We went 6 months where we simply handed them the list. Here's our vendor list. It has 3 painters on it. Go forth. And then we checked in with those 3 painters at the end of the 6 months, and we said, hey, here's the clients we handed the list to. Did any of them use you? And there was a certain percentage that did, certain percentage that didn't. So for the next 6 months, we highlighted one of the painters on the list, and we put a little comment on it that said, our past clients have used this one and recommend them. Just
Mhm.
the written word. And we tested that same thing at the end of 6 months. We knew who we'd handed the list out to. We went back to our painters and we said, did any of these people use you? The percentage of people who used our painters went up from the first 6 months when we just simply just handed the list out and said, here, go forth.
Mhm.
Now, it got really powerful in the last 6 months test. In the last 6 months test, we handed that list over. And instead of highlighting it and saying, our past clients recommend this one, we would verbally say to the person, hey, listen, painter number 2 on the list is who I've used in my home. They just painted
Ooh.
my XYZ. So we went through and
Yeah.
we made sure that there was one person in every portion of that list that someone on our team personally used. And we would actually say that to them verbally. Here's the list. I want you to know. So whether it was a voice memo or however, we were handed the list over, this is the person we personally used. So we still had the highlighting our clients have recommended. And then we did the verbal we've personally used. Girl, at the end of that 6 months, when we did our same test data and look back over it, there was an 86% chance of the person we said we have used ourselves got the business.
Mm.
86%. How about those numbers? Now, we weren't affiliates for any of these. We didn't accept any affiliate money, from our vendor list. It was just
Sure.
a value add. We were just curious. But we started moving forward in our business. And every time someone, if another client said, oh my gosh, my neighbor is going to put their home on the market, I gave them your name. I would take the time to then say, hey, listen, it would mean a lot to me if you could get me on a text message with me, you, and that neighbor, and you could actually tell
Mhm.
that neighbor, here is the person I recommend. Because we knew that warm referral was so much more powerful. And I've taken that
Yes.
now into my podcasting world. Like, we've
Mhm.
created a system at Podcast Her where we actually, and funny enough, we actually use AI to do this. It's so cool. We've just set this system up. But our podcast hosts, we can clone their voice, we can use AI, or they can record them themselves if they want to take the time to do that. We just try to, again, make the easy button. And we have our host say, hey, listeners, badasses, whatever you use to identify your audience. I think that this is another podcast you need to be listening to. It's high up on my Apple podcast list. I listen to it every week. Now, you as the host are giving that warm referral to someone else.
Yeah.
Do you know how often someone will click from your podcast to the podcast you recommend just because you gave a warm referral? And that's how we're helping our podcasters expand their reach and their audience. This is the easy button, folks. You don't need to market. You don't need to pay for ads. You just have someone else tell someone to listen to your podcast. That's it. That's all you have to do. Referrals.
Yes, it's so good. And when you are in a great community like Ladies Kicking Ass, like the PodcastHer Network, people that are in that network realize the power of this and they will promote anything you are promoting. If I see a member of Ladies Kicking Ass promoting anything, my friend Taylor has a new thing coming out where she helps mom entrepreneurs with their marketing. And she just made a big old post that I saw on Facebook yesterday. I shared that immediately with our private Facebook group and like, hey, this is a great opportunity. You'll want to check it out because Taylor is a badass. She's so awesome at what she does. Like every time you talk about stuff with Podcast Her, or I know Amy has a book coming out that I'm so excited to be able to promote, and people that are doing cool shit. All you have to do, one, is ask, which a lot of people are very afraid to do. Ask if somebody can make an introduction for you. Don't think, oh, I just got to do it all by myself, because you've got one extra step in the door with somebody doing just what Joanne explained there. Have someone write a review for you. Everyone that's on my podcast, I'm like, hey, thank you so much for the wisdom that you've had here. Would you mind leaving a review for the podcast afterwards? Podcasts are reviews are the greatest sense of love that you can give somebody. It helps our shows get noticed, helps things be elevated. There's so many ways that you can give back and help people that have provided value for you. I love the vendor list thing. Many times people think too, like, well, they're my competition. I can't refer them if I can't do this. I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm having lunch with a guy that
Oh my
is
God.
across the valley in Phoenix next week that owns a septic company. I know I get calls for the West Valley I can't hit. I know he gets calls for the East Valley that he can't hit. We seem very aligned with our online reviews and the things we're trying to do and leading an integrous business. Let's get our shit together and start referring business back and forth to each other and elevate each other. People don't realize what it means when you do this and you work together instead of having these opposing forces all the time. Many times in even the podcasting industry, things like that, if I recommend someone else, then they're not going to listen to my show anymore, which is completely not true
Not true.
whatsoever. No.
They're probably going to come back to your show when they love the show you recommended, because now they see you not only as the expert in what you are podcasting about, but also their bestie that gives them good recommendations. You know, we've always
Yes.
got that person, right?
Yeah.
Like my friend Lindsay knows everything that's happening in Alpharetta, Georgia, everything. So if I'm like, I really want to go to dinner tonight, but I'm tired of going to the same old places, I can literally text Lindsay and be like, hey girl, what's hot and happening in Alpharetta? And she knows exactly what restaurants are opening, what new cocktail bars to go to, is there music on the lawn somewhere? Like she knows exactly because she keeps up with it. So she's that person for me. So think about if you are, okay, someone's called you for septic and you're like, I can't service you, but so-and-so can. They're going to still call you the next time, even though that person serviced them. Why? Because you didn't just give them a wall to hit up against. You said, let me help you out and tell you who to use.
Yes.
When you add value to your people, they will always reward you for it.
Yes. Always.
Oh, by the way, here's your tip.
Yeah.
Here's your tip. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this even easier for you, Tanya. Yes, you can ask me for a review. And you can send me and you can say, I'm going to send you a link right now to your cell phone that you can click through for that review. Because if you verbalize to me, hey, can you go leave me a review? Now I have to take the time to go find you in my Apple Podcast player, or Spotify or wherever it is that I'm leaving a review. And I have to actually go find you and do the work to leave you the review. Let's make it easy. If I'm going to ask you for the review, I'm going to quickly send you a link to right where I want you to go. Now I'm ensuring that you're giving me a review where I want it. And I just gave you the easy button. Oh, pick my phone up, click a link, leave a review.
I love that.
How much more likely am I to do it now?
I haven't even thought about that with my podcast, and I do that with my septic business all the time. As soon as the job is done,
All the
someone
time.
gets a review. And people are like, how do you get so many reviews with your company? I'm like, because we make it really
Because you make
easy.
it easy.
We send it to you as
Yeah.
soon as it's done. And then if you forget for a couple of days, I'm going to follow up and send you a couple more
Send it
just to
back.
make sure you got
Mhm.
it. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Just to make
love
it as easy as possible. Yeah,
Yes. So,
absolutely.
what are some other easy marketing tactics that you can lay on us today that people can implement right away in their business that isn't like super high cost of entry? It's something everybody can figure out how to do. It's not massive, like, got to program this, do this. Like, what do you think are like the other two, like, top nuggets that you can use in order to market your business?
Know who your niche is.
Mm.
We talk to entrepreneurs all the time. And one of my first questions, aside from why are you marketing this way? Do you even like it? Is who is your ideal client? And most of them they'll flippantly say, oh, I know exactly who that person is.
Mhm.
Great. So if I start asking you little questions like, hey, um, is their hair short or long? What's their average income? Are they married? Are they single? Do they have kids? What's the age of their kids? Like
Mhm.
when we start really dialing in to who that ideal client avatar is on a really deep personal level, they can't answer it because they're so afraid that if they narrow it down, they're actually excluding some of their audience.
Yeah.
What they're really doing is repelling audience because if you speak and you market to your perfect person, that person will hear you. They will receive what you're saying. And guess what? They'll bring others into your world because that's just who we are as humans.
Mhm.
So when you really get clear on your niche and you speak only to that particular person, your marketing just got easier because that person will bring others into your world. Now, if we're going to go back to the social media thing, so many of my entrepreneur friends, they're like, oh my God, I have to be on Instagram or I have to be on TikTok. And I'm like, really? Who's your ideal client? Come to find out their ideal client are corporate people who have never opened TikTok in their life. So why are we on TikTok?
Yeah.
Why aren't we on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Like, why are we creating social media where we want to be versus where our ideal client is? You
Mhm.
want easy marketing? You market where they are. You play in their playground. Don't play in the one you want them to be in. Play in the one they actually are in.
Yeah. That's huge because people think, oh, like TikTok, it's the next big thing. This is all that they hear. And they don't think this is where my people are at. If you're in a home service business, Instagram and freaking Facebook, people are like, oh, Facebook is so old. I'm like, do you know how much business I get off of Facebook? And it's literally just commenting on community pages in where we do business at. You give
Do
knowledge.
you
You
know?
don't just advertise your business. Be like, hey, by the way, did you guys know that you're supposed to have your tank pumped every 2 to 3 years? If you're experiencing any kind of issues, check out this free septic 411 guide I have. I didn't even ask for a sale whatsoever, but when you can see what I can provide, it's light years above any other septic company in the valley. You're going to call me. And people don't look at
I
marketing
would
their
wager
business that way.
Pinterest is a good spot for you.
Yes.
I think you and I have talked
Pinterest.
about this. I think Pinterest is a good spot because
Yeah.
you're always going to have those DIYers who are like,
Mhm.
well, I think my septic tank needs to be like cleaned once a month. Is there a home remedy? Can I like magically put something down my septic that it'll eat up all the grease or what? Like they're going to go
Yeah.
to Pinterest to Google that stuff. So when you are
Yep.
providing that value added information and they start following you on Pinterest, guess what you've just done? You've just added value and you've just converted that future client that when that
Sure.
stuff doesn't, when they actually need someone to come out and service, because the do it at home stuff can only get you so far with your septic tank. We all know that. But we
Yeah.
want to refuse the fact that our teenagers are still putting tampons down there, even if we tell them not to. And that shit literally has to get pumped out by a professional. They're going to call you,
Yeah.
right? Because they have been following your advice on Pinterest.
Yes.
Like that's
And
where they are.
YouTube.
Go there.
People are so scared
YouTube.
of
Oh
like
yeah.
posting stuff on YouTube. Google's number 1 for search, YouTube's number 2, Pinterest is number 3. So if you don't live on those spots, Google My Business, your Pinterest, your YouTube stuff, social media, yes, there's Instagram and Facebook, you can simultaneously post shit at the same time. So like that's a 2 for 1 on that. But if you focused on like those 4 things on a service-based business, you would slay it. Now, if you're offering services to professionals, which I post a ton of stuff on LinkedIn that has to do with real estate sales, because a lot of the people that follow me or that I'm
Mm-hmm.
connected with, whatever the hell it's called on LinkedIn, they're real estate agents. And I want it to be geared towards real estate agents as to the information that I'm bringing them as far as like inspections and things like that with my service. So those are things that you've
Because
really got
you
to think about and
understand
tailor
one
your
fundamental
content.
thing. A real estate agent is not on LinkedIn to actually sell their home buying and selling services. I mean, they'll post stuff on there because that's just what they've been conditioned to do. They're actually, and you hit it on the head without actually really even probably knowing deep down why. Real estate agents are on LinkedIn to build their vendor list, to build that list that
Mm.
they're handing out to friends. So you're providing them information on LinkedIn. You're now landing yourself where? On their vendor list.
So that's a topic right there in itself. Jump on LinkedIn. I'm going to do this today. Jump on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you're posting stuff and wherever you've got that real estate following, if you work with real estate agents, and say, I want to be part of your vendor list and here's why.
I
Like,
want to be part of your
contact me.
list.
How
Yep.
can we work together? Like I want to make you look
Mm-hmm.
good by these services that I provide. Show the value that you're going to give to people and directly ask for it. I think that's something that is very different between working with a lot of men. I work with a ton of men. I have my whole life versus women. Men aren't scared to ask for shit. Women are
Nope,
scared
they're
to
not.
ask for shit. And that is why we
Yep.
end up kind of being like trying to be the lone wolves and getting things done by ourselves. Just ask. I have like asking
Just
for help
ask.
has been one of the biggest revelations for myself to move my business forward in the last 2 years, where I thought, oh, I don't want people to know that I don't know this. Oh, I feel like an idiot if I have to ask
Mm.
somebody this
Because it
very
feels
basic question.
yucky.
It does feel
Yeah.
yucky, but get over yourself. Like, what's the bigger point of what you're trying to do here? Because there are lots of people out there that know more than you that want to help you, and seek those
Mm-hmm.
people, you know? It's really an ego thing. A lot of things are hiring in our business, the way that we market. It's like, how am I being perceived? How many times have we hired somebody and we're like, they're not the right person for this job, but I don't want to let them go because deep down
Oof.
you realize you fucked up when you hired that person. It's an ego check.
Because
It
if
really
hiring
is.
isn't your zone of genius, don't be the one doing it. Bring
No.
in someone who actually knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yes. And it's okay to say, you know what? We made a wrong decision here. I just had to do that with somebody I had brought in for sales and marketing. My slogan is we do epic shit, and he didn't want to say it. He took it off my whole website. I'm like, I have this shit trademarked. Like, this is something that is who we are. And if someone is doing my marketing, they have to be able to embrace that. Was he great at things? Yes, but it didn't embrace the essence of what we're trying to put
Wasn't
out
a
there.
culture fit.
Yes, you have to say, you know
Yeah.
what? I love and adore you. How can I support you in the next phase? But if it's a place where he doesn't feel comfortable, it's not a good place for him to be at in the first place. So you've got to really look at that, even with your marketing, even with your sales, and realize that you've got to have people in the right place doing the right thing. Sales should never feel slimy. I want to have this conversation with you because I think a lot of people are like, I'm great at making posts. I can send out emails. I'm good at all this stuff. But when it comes to the sales, if you market really well and you can't close a sale, this is doing nothing for you. Like you've got to develop the
Right.
sales skill too. And they are two very different things. Marketing has to happen before a sale can occur. But when you
Yep.
understand, like you said at the beginning here, you have to market what you love. Does it feel good to you? If what you're marketing feels good to you, it should be real easy to educate someone on how this will make their life, their situation better. And in education, you have just made a sale. And I think if people would get on that train a little bit more of like, this is how it's going to benefit you versus I'm just trying to be a salesperson, you would have a lot more success
Yeah.
with that. What's your take on that?
I mean, it all comes down to, again, yes, what feels good for you. If you can market the shit out of something all day long, but if you don't understand fundamentally that you have to ask for the sale at some point,
Mhm.
this is not Field of Dreams baseball. If you build it, they don't just come. You have got to market and then you have to ask for it. And so if you market and you ask for it in a way that feels good for you, not door knocking, not cold calling 100 people a day, if that's what you've been told to do, not doing really silly TikTok dancers or Instagram, if it doesn't feel good to you, it shows, it comes across. And that's why your ask never converts or doesn't convert where you need it to, because we ultimately can sense that you are not comfortable with the ask. So if you market in a way that feels good to you, then when you make the sale or you make the ask or you make the pitch, it comes across way more naturally because it feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes naturally and feels good to you, people are more likely to say yes to the ask, to say yes, because they're already there in front of you because they need the service. So now it's just your job to show them why you're the right service to use. And it is a skill set. I'm not saying every time you make a pitch or a sale, it's easy. When I first started in real estate, it was hard. When I exited real estate, I literally could walk into a listing presentation and I would piss other agents off in my office because they would go with these big consultation books that they needed, right? They needed to go through these books on why you should use me as your agent. And I walked in and I asked two questions. One, other than price, what's important to you and what do we need to talk about? And that's all I ask. Because I was so confident and comfortable in how I ran my business that I knew ultimately your sellers, they didn't care about everything in the book. They didn't care about every service you offered. They all had a specific thing. Maybe they were concerned with how are you going to do an open house? Maybe they were concerned with what's your, print marketing plan. Maybe they were more concerned with time on market. So let's just get to the heart of it. What's important to you? And what do we need to talk about other than price? Because clearly we got to talk about price. Everyone's going to be concerned over that. And I nailed and landed 100% of my listing consultations because I just got to the heart of the matter. I didn't do the marketing and the sales pitch in the way everyone else did it and the way we'd been taught because it didn't feel good to me.
Sure.
I figured out what felt good to me. Let's just ask two critical questions. That's it.
Yes.
That's all we need. I do the same thing in podcasting.
Yep. Sales is all about.
I do the same. I teach it how I wanted to be taught. I teach it how it feels good to me. And then it works. That's how we've created everything at PodcastHer.
Sure.
You do it the way it feels good to you.
Yeah.
And if you want more info, we'll teach you a deeper dive into it. Yeah. And if not, no big deal. We'll go on to the next thing.
Yes. You have to remember with sales, it's 100% about them. It's not about you. And those people that walk in with those listing books was making that sales pitch all about them. I'm selling myself to you. When you have confidence in what you are selling, people are like, I'm not sure, but she's so confident. I'm going to trust this. People are looking for reassurance, confidence in your ability to explain something. Same thing for me. Like, I don't need freaking note cards. I could talk to you about septic systems for 24 hours. Like, I don't want the note cards are going to fuck me up. Like, I have my own flow of going through stuff. It's really like getting to know what it is you're talking about and being so confident in what you have to offer. You feel bad if they go with someone else or they choose something else because you know how much you can positively add value to their lives. So that's one of my biggest things when I talk about sales. I'm like, who are you making this about? Is it about your company? Are you selling the company? Or are you actually addressing them, whatever it is? It could be anything, even like websites. I had a friend of mine that's in restoration. He's like, I just need like a one-page website so these insurance guys know I'm alive, because he gets all of his referrals from insurance companies. But he wanted to have a place where people could leave reviews and build up his credibility with stuff, And I was like, great. So
social proof.
Yeah. So I just went in. I was like, what's your objective? Like, do we need to have people be able to contact you? Do you not want that? Like, this one page is great. Like, people were still, even after he had said that to him, trying to sell him this big ass $10,000 website. The guy needed like a $1,000 one-page long scroll website that he can post reviews to and look alive, And it was that was the first thing that they said was like, no one has talked to us about what our needs with this is. They just try to sell us on what they can do. And if you try to do that, you're going to talk people out of it. That's where the slimy is.
We fall into the trap. Right. Well, and I think it's you're falling into the trap of the features versus the benefits. If you're focusing on the features only, then you're missing the benefit to the person.
Yeah.
And when you focus on the benefit, you're really addressing what matters to the person,
Yep.
which leads them to the features. So you're actually doing what you're trying to do without making them think you're obnoxious.
This has been so good. And I know you have something very exciting coming up. So, talk to us about what this webinar is and your program and what you have to offer to everybody if they want to learn more from you.
Yeah, thank you. So we have got a webinar launching May 7th and 8th. And what we're going to be teaching you is a lot of what we talked about today. It's the entrepreneur's guide to easy marketing. It's the 3 things you need to do to set up in your business in order to market yourself really easy. Now, I run a company called Podcast Her. And so a lot of it is going to be focused in on how you can take that podcast as the top of your marketing funnel and use it to create that easy marketing for your business where you can show up consistently every single week and make sales in your sleep. So if you want to join me on that webinar, I would absolutely be thrilled to have you in the audience because I always save time at the end for Q&A on your specific questions. And you can just find us at www.podcasther.com/easy marketing. And I'm sure, Tanya, we will have a link in the show notes there. We're going to make it easy. So you can click a button, go right there and register for the webinar. And we'll see you guys in a couple of days.
Absolutely. And this will continue to keep posting this all over the place because I want as many of you that listen to this podcast. Some of the most important questions and highest volume of questions we get in is sales and marketing questions. It's something you're really good at your trade. You know what you're doing. You don't know how to sell it. You don't know how to market it. You think
Right.
the market is saturated. How are you supposed to stand out? What does building a brand look like? Like, there's so much that goes into this, and people get them all kind of convoluted and they think it's all the same thing. I love what we've been able to explain in here today in detail, the difference between sales and marketing and what the benefit of each one is to your business. And I know Joanne is an incredible teacher. She's so fun to just be in the spirit of Joanne anyways. And she's going to teach you the easiest way of doing things because that's just her MO. That's the way that she works. And so I can fully attest to how awesome I'm sure this is going to be. I will be attending this for sure because even if you think, oh, I got this shit, I know how to do this, I know how to do all this stuff. Even beginner classes you can go into now and you're like, huh, that's interesting. That's another take to something. People always have new ideas. Be open to learning new things, even if you think you're an expert at something. Experts have very open mindsets. That's why they became an expert
Oh,
in the first
experts are
place.
curious people for
Yes.
sure.
So don't ever
Yeah.
think for 2 seconds just because it's called easy marketing that this isn't for you. Because we all want to make things easier. Everybody does. We are all trying to get more time back in our schedule, more time with our family, more time to do shit that we love to do. So if we can tick some things off in marketing and make it go a little bit faster, I'm totally game for that. So I can't wait for this. I'm super excited. If people want to connect with you in other places, Joanne, like Instagram or wherever it is you're hanging out at, where's the best places for them to find you?
Oh, I hang out on the gram. My handle is at It's Joanne Bolt. You can find me there. Jump into my DMs. I'd love to start a conversation.
Yes. And because I've already asked Joanne this question a bajillion times, what it means to be a lady kicking ass, I just want you to use this as a great example, one, of what it means when you can actually, this conversation has been so good today. And it's such an easy flow conversation because Joanne and I were bold enough to step into a room as strangers of people that we didn't know anything about. We thought, what the fuck are we doing in here? But we did it anyways. And look at what we've been able to build from this. I'm proud of both of us for the things that we've been able to do since we went
Same,
to
girl.
this because we felt like we needed to build tables where we didn't find them. We couldn't find what we were looking for. So what did? We went and built it. And that's something that I want to encourage all of you to do. We've created these incredible platforms and communities for you to become a part of. But if you're still finding that you need someone to do business with, to have a friendship with, at this age, like, I want to do business and friendship with these kinds of people because they get me. They understand what I'm talking about. We have the same kind of struggles, and we're working towards really awesome things that other people may not understand. And I would highly encourage you, if you want to be kicking ass this week, find your friends. Find your friends you can do life and business with, because this is a great example of what collaboration can do in elevating each other and elevating each other's goals and dreams. So thank you for being such a good friend to me, Joanne. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, love you, girl.
Thank you for listening. Today's message was pure inspirational fire. I loved it so much. Hey, if you got a lot out of today's show and you think a friend of yours may love it too, please do me a quick favor. Screenshot the episode, post it, tag us at Ladies Kickin' Ass, or share the link to the episode. I'm here to help and support as many badasses as possible, and your generosity in sharing the show to your audience means the world to me. Don't forget to hit subscribe to be notified of all newly released episodes, and leaving the show a 5-star review is the ultimate expression of love. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook and we can chat further. There's also a link to connect in the show notes. Thank you for being part of our tribe. Now go kick some ass.